November 29, 1972, Atari founder Nolan Bushnell and his lead engineer Al Alcorn placed a small box on a barrel in Andy Capp's Tavern in Sunnyvale, California. The box would become the first commercially successful video game, Pong. The instructions to the game are simple. Insert quarter, ball will serve automatically, avoid missing ball for high scored. The game was to mimic the game of table tennis or ping pong. The controllers were two dials that were placed below floating electronic paddles on the screen. Quarters were placed on the side in a converted laundromat coin mechanism. The ball was hit back and forth between the paddles over a single line that was drawn from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. It wasn't long before the machine quit working, and the engineer Al Alcorn came back to see what was wrong. When he opened the machine up, he found the coin mechanism brimming with quarters. Pong and Atari would go on to be a big hit. Pong, however, was not the first game to come out of the developing computer industry. In 1947, Thomas Goldsmith and Esther Ray Mann developed a game that depicted a missile being fired at a plastic overlay target. In 1952, A.S. Douglas used EDSAC at the University of Cambridge to play a tic-tac-toe game. In 1958, William Higginbotham created Tennis for Two, an early predecessor to Pong. It operated on a laboratory oscilloscope. And in 1961, MIT students Martin Gratz, Stephen Russell, and William Whitman created a game called Space Wars after using a debugging program. The dots from the program looked a lot like stars to the students. So they created a game that simulated real constellations, a gravity star like the sun, and two spaceships that fired at each other. However, it did not use a video display. In video games, use an ordinary TV set or a monitor as their display. The beginning of video games comes down to the work of Ralph Baer. Baer first had the idea for a television that could play games in 1951. However, his employers at the time, L'Oreal Electronics, said no to his idea. In 1966, he moved to Sanders Associates. There he wrote a paper entitled Conceptual TV Gaming Display. He envisioned a game system that was compatible with any television and could play different games, sports, strategy, and shooting games. Baer built his prototype of this game system. It featured white dots on a black screen, with plastic overlays to represent the different fields of play for the different games. The prototype for this device was nicknamed the Brown Box. In 1972, Magnavox licensed the Brown Box from Baer and released the system as the Odyssey. The Odyssey sold over 100,000 units in its first year. However, sales declined mostly because people thought you could only play the system on a Magnavox TV. It was only a few months later that Bushnell and Pong surfaced, and while the Odyssey faded away, Pong flourished. Nolan Bushnell began his foray into video arcade games with Computer Space, a version of Space War developed by Russell, Gratz, and Whitman at MIT. Bushnell built the machine in 1970 in his daughter's bedroom. He then licensed the system to Bill Nutting and Syzygy Engineering, who built 1,500 of the units. Nutting wanted another video game, but Bushnell wanted to keep control of his creation, so he and his partner Ted Dabney formed Atari on June 27, 1972, to design and market their games on their own. Bushnell took the money he had made from Computer Space, approximately $500, and had his lead engineer Al Alcorn develop a table tennis game, Pong. The Pong arcade game had a problem, however. It looked extremely similar to a game on Ralph Baer and Magnavox's Odyssey game system. It was later discovered that Bushnell had played the Odyssey at a Magnavox dealership demonstration in LA in May of 1972. Magnavox filed suit against Atari, and in 1976 Atari paid for licensing rights under the Magnavox patents. The agreement turned out to be beneficial for Atari, and the hugely successful Pong launched Atari into a profitable future in the video arcade industry, with classic titles such as Asteroids, Centipedes, and Missile Command. Atari continues in the video game business today, earning $80.3 million in revenue last year. And it all began with a small pixelated ball bouncing between digital paddles in a bar in California.